The Backboard coming at you hot on a Wednesday. Full slate of NBA games, and we have tons to break down. As always, I'm joined by Jonathan Macri, not Macri, not the French Prime Minister. Eventually, I'm going to come up with another joke to use for that, but for now, bear with me. You can follow him at JC Macri NBA on Twitter. Also, follow Knicks Film School with the K on Twitter as well. Jonathan, got some Knicks to talk about today, got some NBA in general, and All-Star break coming up. But I'll start with, how was your Valentine's Day yesterday?
The Valentine's Day was okay, or as good as it can be with two small children in the house and no babysitter. And you could keep running out the French Prime Minister joke. It being mentioned in the same sentence as the French Prime Minister makes me somehow feel more sophisticated. I don't know if that is a proper translation, but yeah, that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We have your your kind of modeling type thumb on the thumbnail, your picture. So I don't know. You seem very important in the thumbnail, so you're obviously important to the show. So we'll take it.
Clearly, yeah. Thanks.
All right, let's take a quick look at what we saw yesterday. Humble brag, 2-0 yesterday. You hitting on Devin Booker's over points. Pascal Siakam really made me sweat a little more. He finished with 26. But you know what you thought came true for Devin Booker. It was a high scoring game. The Kings again refused to play any defense, and Devin Booker finally started to look like his old self. So you can take a victory lap here if you'd like.
I'll take a small one. It started off, I thought I wasn't going to be sweating it out at all. I think he had 14 points in like the first, through like middle of the second quarter, and then tailed off a little bit from there. But yeah, true to form, Kings defensive ranking keeps going down. And, I expect big things from the Suns from here on in.
Yeah, there's no reason the Kings shouldn't make the playoffs, but something to start maybe looking at. Here, looking at what the public did yesterday, these were the top 5 final prop bets on DraftKings. Not the best day for the public here. We did get 3 hits though.
Mm-hmm.
Derek White was the most bet on, and I saw a lot of these tickets on Twitter yesterday. He ends up with 27 with the Celtics and Bucks going to OT. You have it on your screen there, the big hits and the big misses from yesterday. I did want to ask you, though, Jonathan, I think we probably have the same answer here. What stood out to you about any of the games yesterday? I think for me, it's got to be the fact that the Celtics hung tough, again, without Tatum, no Brown, and they went to OT against the Bucks.
100%. And it's funny, you were looking at the game as it was happening, and the score was close, and yet there were, you look at a lot of the obvious indicators, 3-point, makes, 3-point percentage, maybe offensive rebounds. It was just turnovers that were keeping the Celtics in the game. They were turning the ball over left and right, or the Bucks were turning the ball over left and right. And it's a good reminder for anyone ever putting anything on Milwaukee. Their half-court offense, it still gets stuck in the mud sometimes, and you still get issues with it. And Celtics defense is ingrained even with their B or C squad, whatever you want to call that, last night. And yeah, it was a good reminder. Derek White, heck of a player. He doesn't have to do a lot on this Boston team, but when he's put in a position with Tatum out, Brown out, still very capable.
Epitome of a Spurs player, Derek White, right there.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. That's my victory lap. That's good homegrown talent. I miss it. In dire need of it. But we'll talk about my Spurs a little later. I wanted to talk a little bit of All-Star Weekend. So this is going to be our last episode until we get past the All-Star break. I know you're probably pretty excited just to get your eyes off hoops for a couple of days, hit a little bit of a reset. But let's talk about what everyone cares about for the All-Star Weekend, and that is the slam dunk contest and the 3-point contest. So I want to talk about odds for winners, who you're picking, what you're excited to see, and where your early lean is, because these lines are fresh. They're changing a lot now because they just came out. Let's start with the dunk contest. Kenyon Martin Jr. is the favorite. And it doesn't matter how many times I see this name. It will never not make me feel old.
Yep.
Yep. I'm watching his son right now. Had one of those moments with LeBron and Jabari Smith Jr. where he was like, hey, yeah, you played against my dad. And LeBron was like, oh God, I need to retire. I'm getting too old. I'm getting too old for this. But as of right now, Kenyon Martin Jr. leading the pack. You can see there's really not a wide range here. Mac McClung in on second. Not a huge contest in terms of name recognition. let's get one thing clear. Shaden Sharp would have ran away with this if he participated. I feel robbed that he's not going to be in it. It's
It would
tough.
have been nice.
Yeah.
Like he's had some really good in-game dunks this year. Obviously, I mean, look, I'm happy for Jericho Sims. Obviously, he gets a chance to do
Hmm.
this. He's been a nice little surprise after being drafted 58th this year. That said, I mean, I would love to boast about good value play. Big guys don't win this thing. I mean, with the exception of Dwight, who brought, uh, shall we say, a very unique energy to
Mm.
the dunk contest when he took home the prize. I mean, you had your Blake Griffin, you did had Obi Toppin last year, and the Knicks, we should say, have had a good history with this. Nate Robinson, Obi, Dennis Smith Jr. had a nice showing a couple years ago. Some old school guys, if you really want to go back. But yeah, I don't know if this is going to be Sims one to win. I mean, to me, I know you say no name recognition, but you said you makes you feel old for a reason. It's because his dad. I mean, the lineage is there. I To me, you're getting good enough value on the favorite. I'd go with Kevin Martin Jr. here.
This is a no-brainer to me. I'm going Mac
Yeah.
McClung. Like this
Oh,
is this is
really?
someone
Okay.
this is someone that I have followed since I was in high school. Like this guy is capable of pulling off any dunk, honestly. And it also helps that there's not that much name recognition too, because as you get older in All-Star Weekend, you stop participating. It doesn't mean as much. You don't want to get hurt, things like that. We have a lot of young guys, which is really good. They want to make a name for themselves. I mean, think about Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. Like everyone knew who they were, but that is a huge mark on their legacy. Mac McClung is capable of pulling off any dunk. I think he is going to do something absolutely crazy. My only concern is that he tries to get a little too crazy, honestly, and he can't pull off a dunk. If you haven't watched his dunks, take 15 minutes off from work today. Watch his dunks. Your jaw is going to be on the ground. Like it is some of the craziest stuff you'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mac McClung. I hope he pulls something off. Just as someone who probably around the same age as you, I remember when this event mattered,
Mm.
and it feels like it's been a while. So to have a little bit of a rebirth, I don't care who it comes from. I'd sign up for it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think we're in for quite a show this year. Let's move on to 3-point contest. Top three here. Buddy Hield, quote unquote runaway favorite. Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons right behind him. A lot of pretty good value here. Again, the range isn't crazy. We saw Cat win, and he had over plus 1,000 odds last season. Is there anyone here that you're like, I need to jump on this number right now, or any predictions?
The one that jumped out for me immediately was Tatum at plus 600. For this reason only, this event has a history of obviously, like, look, you got to be a good 3-point shooter to win it, but really good players or great players, really, who are maybe not necessarily known for their 3-point shot as much as other parts of their game, do have a history of winning this thing. You want to go to Karl Anthony Towns last year. Devin Booker obviously has won this thing. Kyrie Irving has won it. Kevin Love has won it. Paul Pierce back in the day won this thing. Like if you're, and you go on and on and on. Larry Bird, obviously one of the greatest shooters ever. But again, when you think Larry Bird as an NBA player, you maybe think of some other things before you think of the 3-point shot. Great players, I think, tend to rise. Look, it's a tough field. That's the only reason I would say I don't know if Tatum's going to be able to get there. Hield has won the thing. I would say either Tatum or, using my same logic, Damian Lillard. Plus
Hmm.
550 is a nice value there. Maybe go with one or both of those, and see if you could ride that one out.
Yeah, I was between Tatum and Markkanen as kind of my value picks.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know what Markkanen has done this season. He's been fantastic shooting the ball, and I think just not having to move as much will help him as well. I don't know that I'm confident enough to go, back-to-back years for big men. I'm gonna go with Dame though for who I hope wins, because
Mm.
I see a scenario where Dame doesn't miss a shot, just absolutely sets the world on fire, and I just think I'm such a big fan of Damian Lillard, and I know he gets his flowers, but just being stuck in Portland, or for his own doing too, but
Yeah.
being in Portland and maybe not getting as much love as he would if he was on a big national stage, I'm rooting for him to win this thing.
Yeah, and I also like how the NBA has set it up that we at least have the possibility of two teammates going against each other in one of the the breakout rounds, whether it be the second to last or the finals with Hield and Halliburton, and then Lillard and Simons. So yeah, I think Dame is a good pick.
All right, let's move on to our last one, skills challenge. We also have the rising stars, but you can determine that for yourself. That's basically just 3-on-3. At that point, you have Team Jazz, Jordan Clarkson, Kessler, and Sexton. You have the rookies, Banchero, Ivy, and Smith Jr. And then you have Team Antetokounmpo, Giannis, Thanasis, and Alex. Real quick, I look, Jazz are -120 for a reason. Like very similar kind of mold to just what the Cavs did last year when they won it. I don't care if it's boring. I'm going to go chalk. I'm going to go Jazz here.
I'm all about Team Antetokounmpo for this one. I mean, you want to tell me that these three brothers are not going to be supremely motivated to try to take this thing? To me, the skills challenge is all about how seriously do you take it. Not to say that Team Jazz won't take it seriously, but yeah, I don't know. With Giannis at the helm, I mean, I the value's there. Let's just say that the value's there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he can kind of just carry it himself.
Yeah.
at that point.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to tonight. What we should be expecting. We're going to take a look at the pulse of the people, where the money is coming in on each of these games. We have a monster slate to get through, but there are some big numbers to look at here. Again, we do have Knicks tonight. We're going to be talking about that in Knicks Corner on our last segment of the day. Anything like super jump out to you here? Because 74% of the bets on the Mavericks, for example, against the Nuggets, as the Doncic Irving duo is still looking for their first win. That's a big number to me. Like 68% on the Celtics -8 against the Pistons. I know that it should realistically be -14. Anything here like really stand out to you or confuse you?
You nailed it, Dallas, but it doesn't confuse me because it's been that way all year. No team in the NBA has covered a lower percentage of their games than the Dallas Mavericks. And, I mean, Luka's a big reason for that. People want to bet on Luka. People feel comfortable betting on Luka. But at some point, you would have thought that the reality would catch up to the perception with this team. And it hasn't happened. And now we get the added benefit of they just traded for Kyrie. So there's going to be a doubling down of that effect. I mean, you're in Denver. This Mavericks team has still struggled defending the ball all year. They just sent out arguably their best perimeter defender. 74%. I mean, yeah, incredible. So that one is the one that jumps out for me, and you nailed it right off the top.
Yeah, some other interesting numbers to look at here. A lot of the money coming in on the Pacers -2.5, but the Bulls actually on the money line there. It's pretty close, so no real surprise there. But just some monster numbers. Celtics 91% of the money line. Grizzlies 85% against the Jazz. Thunder getting 87% against the Rockets. Like I get it, the Thunder have been fun. The Rockets are really bad, but that is a big number. And then Hornets getting 82% of the money line against my Spurs. And I get it, Spurs are really bad, but what team is also really bad? The Hornets. Of all those like monster lines, if you could pick one to be like, okay, this is no good for me, which are you choosing from those just huge numbers?
For different reasons, it would be either the Celtics money line or, as you alluded to already, the Hornets. I know the Hornets are coming off a nice win against Atlanta, but that's one of those games where you want to talk about a Hawks team that has given up points all year long. Look, the Spurs just finished a stretch. You would know exactly what it was better than me. It was something around like 10 straight losses against the spread. So I'm not saying I'm sorry to bring that up. But
that's okay. It's fine. I had my fun in the sun. It's all good.
Look, you're in the Wemby sweepstakes. That's all that matters. Even so, I would be, 82% money line bets for the Hornets would scare me. And even at that number -6.5, that's a big number for a team that is just very clearly one of the bottom 4 teams in the league. And then, I mean, Celtics, if this doesn't, I know they lost last night. They weren't able to pull out the win, but if this doesn't scream letdown game, I don't know what does. This Pistons team, they continue to fight. They didn't sell off pieces at the deadline. They still have Bogdanovich. They still have Burks. They're still going out there. They're trying to, establish some kind of culture, springboard for next year, whatever you want to call it. I'd be a little careful with that one too. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I again, that's just the Spurs Hornets one. Like that much confidence on a really bad team is just
Yep.
kind of baffling. But I'm jumping on ship with just the be weary of the Celtics tonight. Let's get to our best bets for tonight. Again, no real victory lap there. We already took it earlier today. 2-0 record for us last night. Let's keep the ball rolling. Hit me with your best bet for tonight.
Yeah. So I immediately gravitated to the Trae Young assist number, which I had at 10.5 under -25 on FanDuel. So the big reason I'm going for this, and I know we're doing Knicks talk in a little bit, but just having watched a lot of this matchup, I mean, this is the closest thing the Knicks have to a rivalry right now. Is their matchup with Atlanta? Last 6 games, against the Knicks, Trae Young's assists 6, 6, 7, 8, 5, and 7. So not really coming close to getting over 10.5 with any of those. I understand the Knicks defense has been very porous since Mitchell Robinson went down. He's still going to be out. He's not coming back until after the All-Star break. However, this is one of those things. We talked about it yesterday. The Josh Hart impact, having another point of attack defender to throw at Trae Young in addition to Quentin Grimes. In addition, they could put Emmanuel quickly on him a little bit. They suddenly have a lot of different options. Now, obviously, trying to get the ball out of his hands, you could maybe use that logic to say that the assist number is going to be even higher. And to his credit, Trae Young over his last 4 games has had some big assist numbers. But again, look at who those games have come against. Charlotte, San Antonio, and then the game before that against Phoenix with no Booker, no Cam, and no McCall. So I feel like this one is one I may have to sweat out. I wasn't in love with a whole lot of the player props tonight, but out of the ones that I saw, this was definitely the one that I liked the most.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like your personal vendetta against the Spurs or what, or just the matter of fact that they're just, they're a bad team. But damn, every time we talk about just like easy matchups, we just keep coming back up. It's been a long season so far. I'll say that much. But I agree with the mindset too. And I mean, Trae Young has never been someone who is shy about shooting the ball. You get a rivalry game. The Hawks have been literally the definition of mid this season. Like I see the logic, and I'm jumping on board. I am gonna go. Man, I gotta say it again. I gave this advice a couple of days ago. Anytime you see a talented big man or just halfway talented big man against the Spurs, take whatever number that is. There are a couple of options today as they play the Hornets. I was between PJ Washington and Mark Williams. I'm going to end up going with PJ Washington, though. Over 20.5 points and rebounds. Best number you can get that at. -125 on BetMGM. This play started as a Mark Williams play. He's gotten a lot more playing time the last 3 games after Plumlee got shipped out of town. But he has been getting into foul trouble, and a lot of foul trouble the last couple of games. I expect him to hit his line. It's at 21.5. I'm just a little less confident about it. Again, just centers and power forwards are going to destroy the Spurs for the rest of the season. But if it's pretty close there, I'll take one less for PJ Washington, and I'm a little more comfortable with him. He scored 20 points in 3 of his last 4, and he's hit his 20.5 over points rebounds in his last 4 games. So, I mean, he might hit this in his points alone. This is going to be a very high scoring game. Last time I checked, it had the highest total out of any game. So I'm going to go with PJ Washington to just probably put up 45 points and 25 rebounds against my Spurs tonight.
I like this not only for tonight, but moving forward, because PJ Washington only has, month and a half to go before contract negotiations begin in full for his potential extension, whether it's an extension with the Hornets or, trying to go out and get a number on the open market. But you look at a Charlotte team that's probably, I could see them, resting some of their veterans down the stretch. I like this as the start of maybe a couple of times we're going to talk about some PJ Washington overs from now until the end of the year.
Okay, and I honestly should have talked more about the Devontae Graham revenge game. That might be more of more of a factor here. No, I don't.
Forgot about that. Yes.
He's just like randomly becoming a Spurs cult hero because they're just trying to attach to anything and everything that is nice at this point.
He could
In the
do it. I
season.
mean,
Yeah,
he's
he
had
can.
a history, when I still remember that game, that season he had in Charlotte, his second year in the league. He beat the Knicks that year on a game winner at the very end of a game. Like he's got the talent if they give him the ball. I mean, he's a guy to look out for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Let's round things out with our Knicks corner, taking a look at at our game tonight. A lot of the money coming in on the Knicks, as you can see on your screen. A lot of the bet for the spread and the handle, and this just keeps going up. Like I think it's bumped up a couple of numbers since we started recording this, like 10 minutes ago. John Collins questionable tonight.
Mhm.
DeAndre Hunter is probable to go tonight. No real injuries to know about on the Knicks side. Mitchell Robinson still won't play. We'll start with just your keys to tonight, factors you're looking at between these two teams as they match up.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I hate to be boring in this, but can the Knicks stop the Hawks offense? I looked it up yesterday. The Knicks are undefeated this year. I think it's either 21 or 22-0 when they hold a team under 109 points. If they defend, they win. And then on the flip side, if the Hawks don't score, they don't win. Because they are so offense dependent. They do not have a defensive backbone at all. So again, to kind of go back on what I was saying a minute ago, I think the Josh Hart impact will be significant to just inject another 25 to 30 minutes of really solid, smart perimeter defense, a guy who's going to get in passing lanes, create some transition opportunities for a Knicks team that does go through these stretches in the backup unit, especially where they struggle to score. The big thing, though, for me here is like, when is New York's going to start getting some respect on the road? They're the best team in the league covering road spreads, 64.3%, 18-10 against the spread on the road. This team has been good on the road all year. They owe the Hawks one after an embarrassing performance about 3 weeks ago now. I think, again, this is one of those where if it was a smaller number, I might be a little leery, but the Knicks, every game comes down to the wire. Almost every game comes down to the wire. So the fact that I'm getting more than one possession here, I like it. I like it for the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, again, this started at +3 for the Knicks. It's up to 3.5 now. My next question was going to be, am I missing something here? Because right now, you ask me which team I trust more, it's going to be the Knicks. And if you can get them at more than a possession, I don't know if I'm missing something here. Even if John Collins goes tonight, like I get it. It's a rivalry game. Everyone's going to get up. It's in Atlanta. This is a very important game in terms of playoff seeding too. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm seeing this wrong or what.
I do think, given how the Knicks defend and given how Mitchell Robinson is perhaps a more important component of their defense against some teams than others, the specific challenges that come with trying to defend not only the Trae Young, Clint Capella pick and roll, but the DeJounte Murray on the pick and roll. DeJounte Murray has killed them this year. I think that's part of the reason. Also, Hawks coming off a bad loss, maybe looking to right the ship going into the All-Star break. So I get it. I get where the support's coming from. But still, Knicks have something going right now. They got a real jolt with this Hart addition. So I don't think you're missing anything, but it's just I lean Knicks here.
Yeah, no, I think if my game pick for this would be Knicks +3.5 as well. Jonathan, anything else before we get out of here for the day?
No, I mean, look, again, like I said yesterday, looking forward to doing these shows down the stretch of the season after an All-Star break, after we kind of recalibrate, see where things are at. And I think it's going to be, we're setting up for a really, really, really fun home stretch with how many teams are still trying to win games, with how many teams are still in it, with so much undecided. in both conferences. I think we're going to get a lot of good stuff to dig our teeth into.
Yeah, we have a couple teams at the top of the East that you're like, all right, they're definitely going to be there.
Yep.
And then the West is just kind of a shit show, and also someone by the name of Kevin Durant is coming back to make things interesting. So it is going to be a wild second half of the season. He is Jonathan Macri. You can follow him on Twitter at JCMacryNBA. Also, make sure you're following Knicks Film School with a K on Twitter. They have your pregame and postgame coverage. Again, Knicks and Hawks, 7:30 tonight. So make sure you're checking them out on YouTube and on Twitter. Jonathan, I will talk to you next week as we hit the reset and get going for the second half of the season.
Looking forward to it, my man. Enjoy the break.